Welcome! Thank you for joining us live. This is A.W.W. Anime we watch. Sam and DJ, we don't even know what we're talking about.
No.
We're anime?
What is that?
We had to practice saying that a couple times. Just kidding. We know what it is. I watched Akira as a 9-year-old, and boy howdy did I never want to watch anime ever again after that.
That was probably not a great one to start with.
Traumatizing.
Cooler older brother. You're like, no, I can take this, and then one dude just blows up 20 people in a hallway, and you're like...
already super into anime by the time I watched Akira, so I was probably like 14, and my dad had it on Laserdisc, and he allowed me to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it messed me up good. So this summer, DJ and I are taking a swing at anime series and films, and we're bringing along special guests to be our guide slash kind of Wikipedia on the go because we have
senpai?
questions.
Is that a thing?
yes,
There we go. Our
Perfect.
senpai. I don't want to sound too much like dweeb, because I don't know how to say a lot of the things, so I'm definitely going to be deferring to the guest who is more knowledgeable
Right.
about pronunciation.
Right, you don't want to sound like a dweeb, so you have to turn to the actual weeb at the table
That's
to
how
guide
it
you
is.
on pronunciation.
Boom.
So today we're going to be talking about My Hero Academia. This series I've heard nothing but good things from. Also our own audience. Shout out to Kevin in the chat, and he's also one of our
Hey,
patrons.
Kevin.
He has been like pushing this show and trying to get us to watch. I watched one episode a while back, but now that we're doing this, I'm like, we got to start with this one. The audience wants us to watch it, and so it was really fun to watch along with you guys, which you can do, and we're going to be doing that every week for all the new series we're watching.
Nice.
Super cool. We watched the first 2 episodes, but today we're going to be reviewing the first 7 of season 1.
Yes.
And we're going to go as beat by beat as much as we can. But kicking it off, Emma,
Yes.
how are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. I really love this series.
It's
so
a good one. I'm so
I'm
glad that you were able to join us for the first one.
Yes, yeah. This is a series. This is actually a series that I recommend to a lot of people nowadays as a potential starter anime, particularly because first of all, anime is a medium; it's not a genre. There are certainly tropes that are common across the medium as a whole, but generally, when people come at me and are like, "If you've never watched anime, what's a great one to start with?" And I go, "Oh, what kind of stories do you like?
Yeah.
Do you like science fiction? Do you like romance? Do you like superhero stories?"
It's like saying, I don't watch TV. Where should I start?
Right. I mean, it genuinely is. However, this one I think is one that's very easy for a Western audience to latch onto because so much of it is poking fun at Western superhero tropes.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, and we had such a blast watching this, and it was so fun because immediately like All Might's yelling out like cities and states and when he's doing his punches.
Yes,
it's great. It's
he's
amazing.
an American superhero.
Oh,
we just need to make that very clear.
He's smiling the whole time. He's got crazy facial expressions.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Like a little scary, but
Yeah.
at the same time, you're like, no, we trust him.
Yeah, totally.
He wears the hell out of a suit. He's kind of like
sure
Luke Cage
does.
when he wears a suit. You're
Yeah.
like, that's... Yellow's a good color.
I was gonna say, I'm not in Two Heroes, like which is the movie. They actually spend a little time on like the backstory of All Might being in America when he was first coming up as a hero. Because he is Japanese, it's Toshinori, but
That's cool.
Yeah.
So this series started out for the Shonen Jump magazine and was created by Kohei Horikoshi.
Very good.
Listen to a lot of pronunciation websites back in 2014, and so that's the manga. That's when it started. Then 2 years later, we got the anime, and now there's a total of 63 episodes. And like you mentioned, there's a film, and there's another film coming out later this year, so
Yes.
total of 2, as well as a number of there's video games that I've read are online, and
Oh,
also
yeah.
Deku popped up in Jump Force, which I have heard basically unanimously that game was disappointing.
Yes. However, the My Hero game, which is also Bandai, it's called. Oh, why am I totally blanking on the name of the video game? It's a fighter, and it is really fun.
Cool.
It's really fun, and in that one, I think you do in Jump Force too, but like you use tag teams and you can mix heroes and villains. It's really a lot of fun.
This feels well suited to a fighting game.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We were talking about it when we were watching it that like it feels like Pokemon. The way in the sense of like you build your superhero team and you
Totally.
like in the second episode you meet like Fire Hose guy and the Wood
Yeah.
hero.
I'm
and
way
the
into
giant
Wood guy.
Mountain Lady. Mountain Lady
Yeah, she's-
was so fucking funny.
Great.
Excuse the F-bomb.
She's great.
I had to though.
Yeah, but this is for Patreon exclusive, right?
Oh, yeah.
We curse here.
You're getting a lot of F's today. But really quick, I'm going to read the synopsis that I found on Wikipedia. Good luck. IMDb ones are never spell checked, so this should be fun. In a world where people with superpowers known as quirks are the norm, Izuku Midoriya
Midoriya.
There we go. Has a dream of one day becoming a hero despite being bullied by his classmates for not having a quirk. After being the only one to try and save his childhood bully Katsuki Bakugo from a villain, All Might, Japan's greatest hero, saves Izuku and bestows upon him his own quirk, One for All. The story follows Izuku's entrance to the UA High School, a school that cultivates the next generation of superheroes. As Izuku and his friends try to balance their hero training with ordinary school duties, they must face new challenges. One of these challenges include the League of Villains, an evil organization established by All Might's arch enemy, All for One, which has plans to destroy all heroes and take control of society. So,
pretty good.
It was pretty comprehensive.
Yeah.
But Emma,
Yes.
how did you come upon My Hero Academia?
Okay, so first of all, thank you, Vanny. My Hero Wants Justice is the name of the video game that I couldn't
you.
remember. I was like, it's like, again, it's honestly a pretty vague title, which is very common in anime. So I had heard of My Hero Academia. One of my friends had been saying that he was enjoying it. It was sort of just peripherally in the back of my mind. So then, what was he in town for? I think, okay, so Chris Sabat is the English voice of All Might. He's also the English voice of Vegeta in Dragon Ball.
Ooh.
So he was in town for something, and we were having breakfast, because I'm friends with him. And
Brag.
I know, I'm just humble bragging over here. But anyway, so we're over at BB's, like just down the road from here in Burbank, or down a little south of here, basically. And we are having breakfast, and he basically is like apropos of nothing, just goes, hey, have you heard of this show My Hero Academia? Because the main kid on it is like the cutest fucking anime character I've ever seen. Like, he's so cute. I just gotta show you this. So I literally watched part of the first episode on Chris Sabat's phone.
That's so funny.
In a diner, basically, in Burbank.
That's
really
hilarious.
cool. I gotta say something. I know we get a little shade. We watched it dubbed.
We did.
Oh, the dub
but-
of this show is fantastic.
Yeah, like I actually was really impressed with the voice acting.
I've listened to bad dubs before because like you give it a try and you're like, this doesn't sound like what they wanted because it doesn't sound like a person.
Correct.
And we'll get into like we have a few like little gripes with the show. We'll get to that a little bit later on.
Yeah.
That we actually got to meet with our friend Raina Scully this morning, and she actually explained culturally some stuff that you lose with English subtitles and especially English dubs.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so that was pretty cool. We'll get to that in a little bit. But are you also familiar with the manga?
Yeah, I've read. Where am I? I'm trying to get all the way caught up on the manga. Where I am in the manga at this point is about the same as where the anime series has left off.
Nice.
So I'm just trying to read ahead before we get to the next season, which starts in October.
Yeah,
Very
and then
cool.
season 4, correct?
Season 4.
And I know Attack on Titan separately. Attack on
Yes.
Titan is coming to an end with season 4. The last thing I
Thank
heard.
goodness.
It's been why it's taken so long, or
No, I liked the first season of Attack on Titan a whole lot. And then I felt like it just kind of started meandering and I lost interest. And my brother had been reading the manga, so he was ahead and he was like, it's not worth it. Just abandon ship.
Oh, jeez.
that's a bummer. But
Yeah, because I know there was a
show-
lot of hype on that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
we were planning on just talking about 7 episodes, which we are today.
Yes.
But
You watched ahead,
because
though.
I did, because oh man, someone poo-pooed when I suggested this. I skipped the intro and the recap at the beginning, so I'm binging it.
Oh,
I didn't mean
yeah.
to do that. And when the credits roll, I'm like, I know this is an anime where there isn't a clip at the end. Sometimes like other series I've watched,
Correct, yes.
it's just what's coming next. I'm like, well, I'll watch the.
I'm about to watch the next episode. I don't need to see what's coming next.
Yeah.
Based on measurements, I'm like, that takes about 8 minutes out of a 24-minute runtime. So these
Yeah.
are real short
They're short.
pieces. And
Yeah.
then when you get to the repetitive nature of some of these anime, I'm just like, this feels like it can be kind of truncated a little bit. But getting ahead of myself. Let's hop into it. Let's go ahead and talk about the first 2 episodes. And we're going to be talking to Echo Spider, Danny Boy, and Cage96, who are all part of our Discord on Patreon.
Yes.
Nice.
Danny Boy is part of our producer tier, but Echo Spider and Kevin won our raffle this week, which you can join if you're part of our $15 tier. If you're watching this, you're already a part of it, so you'll be in the running. Make sure you're on our Discord so you can be a part of that. But first up, our first 2 episodes are Izuku Midoriya, origin, and what it takes to be a hero. So we open with it. They do such a good job just like bolting through
Getting right into it.
all
Yeah.
of it. Like magic sparkly babies born, 80% of the population now has powers.
Which is crazy.
80%?
You would feel crappy too if you didn't have a quirk. If 80% of the population, that's two out of every 10 people.
It's like being a squib in a magic family in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
It's man, I would be devastated.
Yeah.
And I did like the little tiny rules that they start setting up. It's like, oh, you gotta look at, it's the next step of evolution, so they don't
look at the
pinky
toe bone.
Yeah. It's only one bone.
I liked how funny it was. I liked one of my favorite gags in the first episode is when All Might is like stretching before he goes to jump, and he's like, "Well, see ya," and then Deku's like holding on to him.
Yeah.
And I also really liked All Might's. I for some reason I kind of expected All Might to be like a westernized subversion of Superman, where it's like, actually, he's a dick, and it's like, no, he's cool.
I totally agree. That is one of the things that is so great about this series is the character All Might, because he really is a good person. He's a really good person. He really cares. He feels like he's found somebody that is a great successor in Midoriya because he is so compassionate and he cares so much.
Yeah.
It's so sweet.
And I like that he's messed up. He's
Yeah.
like, also,
my God.
I don't have a stomach.
yeah, and you're like,
Wait,
whoa,
what?
like you almost lost all your both lungs.
I mean, that's one of the things that I really enjoy about this series is that it addresses how hard it is on your body to be a superhero.
Yeah.
That, like, no, you get some horrible injuries and you may injure yourself to the point that you cannot work anymore.
And on top of that the villains are legitimate threats. I mean, I know in past episode 7 we get into a lot of them, but at least in the first couple episodes you see Sludge Monster.
Yeah, rapey
And,
Sludge Monster.
Oh my God, that is so he can get inside your body, wear you like a suit, and use your quirk if he wanted to. Then like later, Danny Boy made a great joke. He's like, "What? You're bagging him up in trash bags?" No, like a little loose knot. This will be able to keep him from getting out again.
Perfect.
You should kill that guy. You should throw him right in a blender or burn him. I don't know what would kill this guy. But he's like stealing the bodies of children and running away with them. You should. I don't, it's dicey in other situations, but this is an actual demon that's running around. But I do like that they said it. The humor is immediately a part of the show when you see Midoriya as a kid protecting his friend, and you get Bakugo and then the other two kids. Like one kid's fingers just grow like super long. The other kid has like bat wings, and Bakugo just like starts exploding stuff on the ground. You're like, oh, so if you don't have a quirk, even like a pretty minute one is better than being one without one.
I also really like the subtle stuff like that they establish in that first episode is that you get people that like there's just a guy with like fins on his head. So you could just look weird.
Yeah.
That could be it.
It probably does something, but like you could just look that way, like the X-Men.
There are definitely exactly. It's very X-Men in that there are a lot of people that have quirks that you're like, well, their quirk makes them look weird. Not really sure what it is, but we're just gonna roll with it.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll find out eventually.
Not everybody wins the lottery, I guess. So real quick, we spent a lot of time with Deku and his bully. Who just really somebody needs
Bakugo?
somebody needs to talk to him. Somebody needs he needs a counselor. He needs something. But I have a theory.
Okay.
After watching this, I'm the one at the table that's only seen the first 7 episodes.
So
I
get
think
full tantrum.
Yeah. Bakugo, I think he just really wants to kiss Deku. That's my theory. I know anime fandom loves the ship stuff, so I don't know if
that is not my ship.
Here's the thing.
I've got some.
I don't think they should be in a relationship until he figures his stuff out because it's not healthy. But I think he just, with the way they talk about each other, I think secretly they just want to kiss.
There is a point in the show, this is a very, very minor spoiler, where they're doing final exams and they're pairing up people into teams, and most of them they're like, oh, this, such and such's quirk really complements this person, and this person tends to overthink things, and this person never thinks about things, and then they put Midoriya and Bakugo together, and they go, we just put them together because they get along so terribly.
That's great. Yeah, well, I'm just all I'm saying is I think they have better chemistry than Deku and the Levitation Girl. Is all I'm saying.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't want to spoil anything because I also listen. I understand people that are like into Ochako and Deku. That is not my ship. I am a girl, so I ship boys with each other. I don't know if I don't know if Reina's ever gotten into like a full explanation of sort of that whole subculture within anime fandom. But I mean, Bakugo Midoriya is a good ship. It's just not my ship.
Again, if he figures his stuff out,
they could. I just feel like they have some stuff they need to work out.
Yes.
And it's just because it's like the way they talk to each other in the first 7 episodes, it's not like he's really bullying him. He's like, you kept a secret from me. Really, he's saying, you made me look like a fool for a long time, but it feels like, how could you? And it's like, why? Because you're a bully. And you're like, you know why I want to fight you? Because you're so goddamn, your lips are so handsome. I mean, your powers are just so, just come give me a hug, but we'll lie down. And you're like, this, it's silly. It's so silly. You know what? I'm going to get 2 criticisms out of the way really fast.
Okay.
One is Bakugo just way over the top. He needs to be talked
he's
to.
at an 11 at all times.
Actually, sorry. The other criticism is the sexualization of some of the characters because I had to look it up. They're 15. I forgot kids, but you're like college, right? It's like no,
they're supposed to be high schoolers.
And and then our character, I know the first name we hear is Momo, but the
Yorozu,
who can pull matter and items out of her skin.
Yes.
So you need her to have skin that's
exposed
available
in theory. However,
in the episode later in the season we see her pull it out of a place that isn't exposed.
I mean we were talking about this a little bit off air that they're inconsistent about that because they set up the rule of she has to have her skin exposed, and there are other episodes where she is, in her school uniform or something, and she has to open up the front of her blouse to pull something out of her shirt.
Sure.
Like you do.
Yeah.
But you're totally right that they're inconsistent about it.
It feels a little icky, and I know culturally there's other stuff, and also we can definitely look at comic books, now, and also just the history of comic books of over sexualization of characters, purely just to get people to go and buy those characters. And I will never forget someone getting mad at me when I made fun of Starfire's costume, especially in New 52, where it's like pasties and then a pasty down there. You're like this, and they're like, that's a Tamaranian war uniform, so show some respect. That's our troops.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you for serving. So that's a little criticism, but also the episodes have this cyclical feeling of explaining exactly what everyone's thinking from every single point of view, and re-showing footage that we just saw maybe within the same episode, but sometimes episodes we just watched.
Right.
I know that I have the privilege of watching it back to back.
Yes.
So, but I know that this is weekly. But talking with Reina, they talked about how the nuances of
the Japanese language.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's there are 60 different ways to say one word, but in English you got maybe 4.
Yeah.
And so it's gonna sound the same.
Because it's different dialects, it's different levels of deference in terms of how formally somebody's speaking. I like this show in both English and in Japanese. I've watched it both ways.
Yeah.
But I think for me, I don't even notice that because I'm so used to that from watching so much anime that it's just, to me, it's like, okay, it's part of it.
It's just part of the medium. Yeah, so I was actually going to ask you about that. Is it just from your... Are there... excuse me. Are there animes that, subvert that and mess with that, or is it so ingrained in Japanese culture that they haven't? Because I know with comic fans, there's obviously incredibly silly stuff in comics, but we've also gotten to a point where people start to subvert and mess with that stuff just because they can.
I mean, this series, it is as much of a comedy as it is a drama, so I think that it's more common in comedic series than dramatic series. Again, I think it is part of the comedy is we're gonna say this in 3 different ways, and if you understand Japanese, which my understanding of Japanese is very limited, then it's funny. It's a joke that we're missing.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Which is a bummer, but overall, like we said, the dub in this is really solid, and I'm sure the captions as well are really, really solid. So yeah, those are the only 2 that the sexual humor feels a little funky because it is very clearly they're not these aren't, and even me saying this feels gross, but they're not 18-year-olds.
No,
they're
I know.
not anything like that. They're not this isn't college age kids.
Yeah, and it does feel, it's interesting because you feel especially you have, certain characters that are the adult pro heroes that are sexualized that you don't feel as weird about because they're adults.
Yeah,
Mount Lady.
Yeah.
Or have you met Midnight, one of their professors yet?
I don't.
I think you've seen her, but you haven't really met her yet.
Yeah, there's only been the guy who moves concrete. Best joke, you haven't gotten to this yet, but you meet the principal, and it's this weasel thing that comes
he's
out.
a little bear,
and he's
sort of.
Yeah, and his introduction is, I'm like a bear or an otter or a weasel or something, but I'm the principal, so let's get to business. And you're like, what the fuck are you talking talking about?
It's pretty great. But with the teenage girls, there is a little bit of like, is this really necessary?
Yeah, every time I can't remember this character's name. I'm so sorry.
Minetta, I can already tell you it's Minetta.
Yeah, every time she falls over, it's always butt up.
I thought you were talking about Minetta constantly commenting on wanting to see naked girls.
No.
Yeah, he gropes a girl at one point. You're like,
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the love
Zero
interest
G.
girl. Yeah. Like
Uraraka.
in the episodes
yeah.
I saw, every time she like falls over, it's always like butt in the air. It's like,
But you know what? Those are some criticisms. But let's throughout the first episode, I love the setup of these are how the teams of heroes can work, and like it's super important that you find the right kind of people to work with. Like you get the wood guy, but he can't go into the fire because
Right.
Bakugo keeps exploding.
Correct.
And everybody else is like death arms.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, because it's all the heroes, and they're like, none of us have the right quirk to deal with this. Okay, well we'll just do damage control until the right person shows up.
That
Yeah.
lady can only do regular height and then big height. There's nothing in between.
No in between.
So it's like she can't get in there
No.
and stop it. And even if she could, it's like there's nothing for you for
Yeah.
you to do. And I love that there's rules like that. I love that Izuku gets moments where you're like, he does deserve this.
He does.
And also when he starts going to school and he starts his entrance exam specifically, like you have to take out these robots. He has a power somewhere. We don't know where it is. His noodle boneless chicken legs,
yes.
like it's so funny, as well as of course you have a school nurse who can kiss your boo-boos back to back.
Yes,
That's
I love Recovery Girl.
It's disgusting because her lips go but it's cute.
but if you do it too much, you might die.
And I love that she says it so fast, and it feels like the Japanese language is shorter than the English translation. So it's
Yes.
like, just so you know, if you keep doing this, you're gonna die. What? And it's like too fast of a reaction to that. She told you. So stop blowing all the bones out of your body.
Yes.
Something I liked also in, I think it's the third episode, is that Deku has to actually work to
Yes.
contain the power.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
not just
yeah.
like, you have magic super. Like, I love Sam
No.
Raimi's Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
And then when he gets bit the spider and he just wakes up with like instant abs. I'm glad that's not the situation here.
No.
Yeah.
You have to in this world. You have to train your body like a normal human being in
Yeah.
order to be like superhero ripped.
Yeah.
I'm like,
And yet still look skinny somehow.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's the skinny ripped or skinny pack.
Yeah.
You don't have a six pack, you got a skinny pack. You just burned away any
Yes.
fat that you had left. And you know what? His training montage is great. I love that All Might's a little embarrassed of him, like just a little embarrassed.
Well, it's because he's just so eager.
Yeah,
and
he's
All
just
Might's
calm-
like,
you gotta calm
need to
down."
calm down a little bit. Just like you're at like a 14, and I need you at like a 9.
Someone like I don't think you ever need to do. I did hear that like there's like Legendary was thinking about doing a live action version of this. I'm like, I'm not feeling it.
You know what I
but,
think would work?
Really quick, I wanted to
Yeah.
say, Skinny All Might, Kevin Bacon looks exactly
Oh,
like
I know
him,
he really
and I
does.
would way be just give him a wig.
Affectionately called Small Might.
Yeah, Small Might.
Small
Oh,
Might.
nice.
That's
Yeah.
great. I by the way, I like that bit. I like that he's not only a dweeb, but he's kind of a broken dweeb.
Oh yeah. You don't even know.
Movie-
You don't
Excited.
even know.
Movie, not a good idea. Live action, like Netflix series, maybe.
Maybe.
There's a lot
Maybe.
here that you need to cover, unless you did like a Harry Potter situation where you're like booking through a year in one movie.
Yeah.
You know what? My hangups are like the crazy quirks that are physical. Like if in this image
Yeah.
we have who is our guy, the spearheaded guy?
Coda.
Coda. So you got Coda, and you got a couple other characters.
Yeah.
The guy looks like Axel from Kingdom Hearts. Like the
Kirishima.
big hair like that. Like it just
The best.
It feels iffy in live action. Like cosplay looks cool, but then when you have to have a serious conversation with someone like that, you're like, I don't know if I could.
Yeah.
I don't know what it could look like, but a serialized version and not a movie could be a better way of doing it if you did live action.
Yes, absolutely.
But I did like seeing Deku have to like control, like he just pushes it through his finger. His finger is
Yeah.
still obliterated. And
Well, and with Deku too, it's so much of him learning because I mean they comment on it too during the entrance exams where they're like, it's like this kid isn't used to having his own quirk in his body, which obviously we all know why. But yeah, that whole idea with him of trying to, he has this power in him, but if he uses 100% of it, then it really does a lot of damage to him. So it's him figuring out how to contain it, how to use it wisely, and
Is he? So you're 3 seasons deep.
yeah.
Yeah. Is he better at it?
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right.
Very
Cool.
cool.
Much better at it.
And speaking of like training, we get into the All Might gets to be a teacher, and like everyone's excited. This is their first time meeting him. No one really knows that
Yeah.
Deku already knows who this person is,
Yeah.
which it's not addressed, but I did like that moment for everybody because they're super excited.
Yeah.
We get into a building, and I'm trying to make sure I understood the world. This is a city that got obliterated because of a superhero fight, and now we get to train in it? Or am I
so basically they have like fake arenas that the school generates effectively.
Okay. All right, because they did mention like,
Big budget
our world
with the
sucks.
school.
Like Aizawa even mentions like, yeah, you guys like a lot of heroes get away with some awful stuff and villains too. So I thought that's where we were, but that makes me feel a little bit better.
Yeah. So they basically the school has all these training grounds. In the manga, they spend that's the next part where they go to USJ.
Yeah, which is awesome.
It's so
Super
good.
cool.
Yeah.
It's like an Olympic arena, but with different superhero battle air. It's super cool. I really
well,
love
and
it.
I mean, in the manga, I can't remember if in the anime, because I had watched all of the anime up through season 3, and then I started reading the manga because I decided I wanted to, and it's all on Shonen Jump on the app, which is $1.99 a month for unlimited.
Wow.
So I started reading the manga, and in that they're at Universal Studios Japan, but I don't think it's that in
That's
the anime.
They do
hilarious.
make the joke though. They're like USJ's Universal Studios Japan. It's like that's not where we are.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
That's funny.
But with our exercise, we get Ida and Bakugo teaming up as villains, and Ida getting into the role.
This is now all coming back to me.
Ida as a villain is hilarious. He has like the monologue down.
Yeah.
And then we get I'm sorry, I'm gonna keep saying Zero G Girl because you've said it like 4 times and immediately
Ochako. Uraraka. Ochako. Yeah.
I'm gonna try my best.
Yeah, it's a lot.
But Uraraka and Deku are teaming up as the heroes, and I love the only criticism of this is that Bakugo is just losing his mind, and All Might should have stopped this a long time ago. I know you believe in Deku, but he's like lost limbs to using your power. He should not be here right now. But I did like the creativity of all their costumes. I'm glad Deku's not in that the furry suit anymore. I'm really happy about that. The Bugs Bunny costume.
I mean, he still has the hood. He just isn't wearing it.
Okay. I am glad he does not wear it. I do like
Yeah.
the mask is pretty cool.
Yes, yeah.
But I like the creativity behind Bakugo's like grenade gauntlets. I'm like, visually that's super cool, but I love that they had serve a purpose.
Well, they do, because I mean, Bakugo basically the way that his quirk works is he's basically just sweating into his costume, and so his costume is literally amplifying his explosions that are created from the sweat off of his body.
Yeah, that, if he had a tantrum as a kid, that must have been a nightmare for a parent. By the way,
his parents are great. You meet them later.
Oh, nice. But speaking of parents, Deku's mom, when you meet her,
cute.
she's adorable. But when you meet her power, where it's like she can just kind of like
where she just like
stuff.
scoots
She's
things
like,
towards
and
her.
like float some paper.
Yeah, it's like he dropped his action figure, so she has like 5 like wafts to get it up to her. It's like it's
great.
kinda
It's a good bit.
it's kind of helpful.
I something that threw me off because everybody makes a big deal about how Deku can't possibly be a hero because he doesn't have a quirk. This guy, Eraserhead, I think is what they call him.
Yes.
Those ribbons around him are not his ability.
No, they're not.
They're not. They're just this like carbon fiber steel gadget.
Yeah.
Why doesn't Deku use these things?
We get more into the gadgets that heroes use
Use
to help
gadgets.
like amplify their abilities.
You're telling me there's no Batman running around in this universe? I think there's a gadget guy.
So there's kids at UA that are in the technical course that is what their job is to basically make superhero.
Oh, the Q situation.
That would be cool. That'd be super cool.
But yes, so Aizawa is using something like that. However, he does also have a very cool quirk.
Yes.
So.
And it would later on in the season when you find out how like there's a tick. You can see like
Yes.
of how you know it's working, and when it stops working, his hair goes up and down.
Floats.
Yeah.
And so that's why like now he's like all powered up, and it's super cool when he gets in a villain battle because he's
Yeah.
formidable, but he's not meant for like close combat.
No, he's definitely not. Aizawa
So
is such a
cool.
great character.
He is. He's a cool.
I love him.
I don't know what the whole getting into a sleeping bag thing is, but like I did like it. It's a fun visual.
Hey, sometimes you just want to take a nap.
It's a visual gag.
just wanna take a nap.
These first 7 episodes were really solid. I do like post that, and you're gonna if you choose to
Yeah,
keep
I'm probably gonna stick with. I might currently because I like to save money. I do have Hulu with ads, which prolongs this process.
It does prolong the process.
So maybe if I resolve that situation,
Might take
I'll be able to get through it a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
But the first season wraps up really in a nice way. It introduces a lot of fun heroes and so many villains. It really kind of just all of a sudden they're just there. You're just like a bunch of them, and I'm like I'm super on board with this.
Yeah, that's the thing is I feel like with My Hero, the first season actually it's like the first 7 episodes that you guys watched, I know you watched past that, Sam, but it really is a lot of like world building. Here are the rules of this world. It's superheroes, Harry Potter school.
Yeah.
And then they introduce villains at the end of the first season, and then it's like the sports festival at the beginning of season 2, which is amazing, and then just like balls to the walls, we're fighting villains. Here we are.
Cool.
Yeah,
That's
I
exciting.
really like it, and just a shout out to Ida because he's just got rocket legs.
Tanya,
Yeah,
he's great.
it's just
He's
engine
such
legs.
a good boy. He's so lawful good. I love him.
He's just it's also cool. Like it's a cool power, good for him, and he has the body type for it. Like I get it. Like I buy it. Like it is gross.
Yeah.
He has an engine in his
his leg.
calf.
Yeah, it is kinda gross.
It's
Kinda
it's
gross.
yucky, but I do like that it helps him run. I'm like trying to think mechanics of it. I don't think that really follows or tracks, but it is cool.
Don't think about it.
need
Yeah,
to.
don't.
Why
Yeah,
would
no.
I?
They're definitely having fun over here, and again, I like the little elements of. Yeah, just having fun with the abilities. The guy has an engine for legs, death arms, and then sometimes your quirk is kind of lame.
Girl who is a frog.
Frappy. Yeah.
She's great.
Tsuyuasui. Yeah, she's great.
she's super cool. Also, and your favorite character is the man
Oh,
who can freeze.
it's Shoto Todoroki.
He is so in the next episode you get to it's hit. They just do quick montages of everybody else's like
Yes.
tower experiment.
Yeah.
He just freezes it all, walks up, touches it, and walks out, and you're like, yikes! That
Yeah.
was really effective. Like he's real. Like freezing never gets enough credit. That's a crazy cool
doesn't.
power.
That's the other cool thing about being so unique with these abilities is showing how it's something I actually enjoyed about the Incredibles, where like before if you'd asked me from like the Fantastic Four company, it's like stretchy powers. I'm like lame. Don't want
Yeah.
them. And then you see Elastigirl, you're like, never mind, actually pretty
Amazing.
awesome. Yeah.
Yes,
So like a lot
exactly.
of these powers like engine and you're like, ugh, hard pass. And then you see it's like, actually, you know what, could be kind of cool.
And I like that they got to design their own costumes, and so his
yes.
has all like these like what would you call those like spoilers on the back of cars,
Yeah.
exhaust pipes,
Exhaust pipes,
yeah, and
yeah.
you're like, sure, that's got to be hefty, but you have rockets for legs.
Can I tell you one character I don't need any
Okay.
more of? Naval laser French.
Aoyama.
Wait, what was it?
Borderline.
What's his name?
Oyama.
No, but it's like
His superhero name?
It's
I
called
can't
like
remember.
something naval.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
is funny, but it always feels a little bit like
He becomes more useful as time goes on.
gets good because it feels like I don't know. He feels gay to me, and it feels like they're making fun of him because he's gay, and it's like that feels weird.
Yeah.
It feels just like a French stereotype, which I feel like we're okay to do.
Yeah,
Are we
hey,
okay to do
hey,
those?
listen, we're okay to do French stereotypes.
Can we do those?
So, Emma,
Yes.
we started with the first 7 episodes.
Yes.
Looking forward, give us some of your thoughts on the series going forward and like
man.
what we can look forward
It
to.
just
and stuff
gets
like that.
so good going forward because, like I said, they really get into. This show does such a nice balance of having like tournament arcs and things that you would expect in a typical shonen anime, but they keep them short and sweet.
Yeah.
And they always serve a purpose with really propelling the story forward. So there's some good character development in the sports festival, which is a tournament arc.
Yeah.
Which normally I don't love tournament arcs, but My Hero Academia does them so well. Later on, you get the provisional licensing exam, which is also so freaking good. But then, they balance it with things like they're not just at school the whole time. So they have to go and do their hero internships, which is
it.
great.
That's
Because again,
awesome.
it's very much playing with this idea of superheroes being the norm and being something that's just part of society. I mean, there's like insurance agencies that
I
specialize
actually
in
really
superhero
like that
stuff.
Yeah, which is kind of why I would want like an American live action adaptation or something, just because I think we could use something like that.
Yeah, but then there's really good stuff too with like the pro heroes cooperating with like the police and this detective Tsukauchi to try to find
He's pretty cool.
he's awesome, to try to figure out what's going on with the League of Villains, and it's very Harry Potter in that they're like suddenly the world is dangerous, so we gotta like accelerate these kids. They are on the fast path to heroes.
Yeah. That's great.
And I did like, there's a point in between season 7 and the final episode of season 1 where press sneak in to the school, and there's supposed to be a lockdown protocol, so we're like, we don't know how the press got in, and everyone starts freaking out. But they're like, don't use your abilities, just wait for the cops to get here. Because I'm like, oh, cool. So they do work with the cops, but they aren't the cops, so they can't
Correct.
just blow a bunch of press out
Yes.
of here.
Yeah.
Like, I like that there's rules. Like, there's some people who are a little hot-headed, but on board with that. The teacher that's a DJ, I'm like, this is
Present Mike.
super
Yeah.
weird. But when you see him use his powers later, you're like, what?
actually. Yeah.
Really like the speakers around the neck. Super big fan of that. But really quick, as we're winding down,
Yes.
I wanted to ask you guys what you think are the highlights of this show that you would pitch to someone who hasn't watched anime before. You get tweets like this a lot.
Yeah.
People probably ask you constantly.
Sure.
And I'm going to give you my pitches, and you guys let me know what you would add on there or what you think. I'd say the humor is a big pull for this, especially its jabs at American superheroics. So if you want a good kind of dig at Superman that's not fully making fun of him, but the cheesiness and the campiness that does make that character popular and actually doesn't weigh him down, but there is plenty of room to kind of like jab him. I'd say that, and also the creativity with the superpowers. You're not getting Superman, even All Might, it's strength, and that's how he's able to move around. He's able to jump. It's all tied back to one thing.
Yeah.
And so I like the combination of abilities and the creativity behind that. What do you guys think?
I mean, one of the things for me that I love so much about this series is the heart of it and the whole idea that you just always have to try your best. One of the things I really, really think this show does extremely well is portray young male characters who have emotions and are very open about their emotions and are not ashamed of them. And I think that like Midoriya is just a really great role model for any sort of young boys that are watching this show. It's one of my absolute favorite things about it. And his sort of earnestness, it rubs off on everybody that's around him. And ultimately it's the relationships between the characters that make me keep coming back to this series.
I like that a lot. So for anybody that maybe checks out My Hero Academia and is into it, are there other animes that you could recommend to them?
Well, if you're
to branch out.
Yeah, if you are a little, because this is very like friendly for a middle school audience, though it's dark. It's very serious, but it's also very funny
too, by the way.
Yeah, I know. It's like
swears.
People just cursing up a storm.
No.
I also would recommend One Punch Man to people, which is another fun sort of playing on superhero tropes and is very much a comedy, but also takes itself seriously.
Cool.
Oh gosh, what are some other series that I would say are My Hero Academia adjacent? A lot of people would say Naruto. I never really got that into Naruto. It happened during a period of my life where I wasn't necessarily watching as much anime. I would recommend Little Witch Academia, which is a Netflix show, which really is like Harry Potter school. It's about a bunch of girls who are in witch school, effectively.
Any relation to this academia show?
None at all. None at all.
Okay.
As we wind down, I want to get a rating from you guys, and I want to know if you could choose, what quirk would you want, but also if you kind of feel in your heart which quirk you would just give. Let me know. So just to kick it off, I'd say I'd give this a solid 8.5 out of 10.
Okay.
I wouldn't say 9 out of 10, but because I do have the circular explaining of scenes really wears me down.
Sure.
But this is a super solid show, and I would recommend it to basically anybody if they wanted to get into this genre.
Yeah.
And if you like superheroics as well.
Yeah.
What would you say?
Similar, somewhere between an 8 and a 9. Yeah, I really dug it. What about you?
I'm real close to a 10 on this one.
Nice.
I really love this series. My only hesitation is that a lot of the time shonen series like this run on for way too long. And so I'm catching up on the manga right now. As far as the series goes, it hasn't gotten to a point yet where I'm like, it's too much, wrap it up, stop.
Yeah.
But shonen series, they do this. I mean, One Piece is
we looked it up.
900 plus
It blew
episodes.
our minds.
Yeah, I ran down a rabbit hole where I looked up that, which is, you're right, is almost 900. And then I looked up Pokemon, which is over 1,000.
Yeah.
It's 1,200 episodes of produced television, of animated television.
And what's crazy is Dragon Ball isn't, if you add all the Dragon Ball series, even GT, which I don't think technically
It's
counts or
not
whatever,
canon,
that doesn't even
less.
come close. Somehow that's less, and it's been on since before I was around. Anyway, blows my mind.
Yeah.
Yep, that's my only fear is that this will go on for too long.
Yeah.
But I really love it. I feel like a lot of the sort of fan servicey stuff that they do early on it starts to sort of fizzle out. It's certainly never a focus in the show one way or another.
Yeah.
It just exists. But especially as we get into some of the more serious storylines, this is a really, really great series.
Nice. For me, I'm going to throw out a quirk.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to throw one out.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind if... I'll go ultra specific here.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind, and I feel like I'd get this anyways, if my arms and legs could stretch, but to a point. Like,
Okay.
there were like... I could at most get like 20 feet out of them.
Okay.
My torso and head don't move. Like maybe my neck moves. Like maybe
Yeah.
that goes too. But my torso's always, it's like a starfish basically.
Yeah.
And I can kind of, it's not sticky. I still can get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I can even break a bone, which is a bummer. But it's like I can stretch that. And it
Yeah.
will. But I have a limitation. I can't just hold it. It's like holding my breath.
Yeah.
It's like
Well, that's again like that is one of the things that's so good about this show is that all their quirks have limitations.
bat
Yeah.
arm guy who's all his organ, like
Yes.
his like any sensing organ or
Yep.
speaking stuff's on the ends of his hands. I'm like, yuck,
No.
that's
But it's
disgusting.
really helpful.
It probably
Yeah.
is. He's a big sonar dish.
Yeah, it's
What
like,
would
and
you
I feel like at the point that you're at too, like you haven't seen how interesting and fun like Jiro, Earphone Jack Girl's quirk is.
Super cool though.
Yeah, she gets great stuff to do later on.
I'm a big fan. No, there's so many cool characters. But what about you?
I feel like what I would want. Okay, so my what I want superpower, and I feel like has never been done justice in any of the film adaptations of this franchise because they're all pretty bad, and I think that's universally a pretty normal opinion. I really want invisibility and force field powers like Sue Storm has.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's what I would want.
We do get a flying glove girl, and
A little bit,
Yeah, you're like
yeah.
a little bit.
A little
but-
bit, yeah. The girl that's actually invisible in
Yeah.
class.
Can she not be invisible?
No.
No, that
yeah.
blows.
I wouldn't want to be. I wouldn't want to be always invisible.
Yeah.
What do I think I would actually have? For
If you
a
feel it
quirk?
kind of in
Those
your
powers
heart.
are pretty cool in Incredibles. Again, another power
Yeah.
that gets some due in Incredibles.
Yeah, force fields are a dope power.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that realistically though, I'd probably have some sort of like fiery exploding quirk like Bakugo.
Be cool though.
That
It's a
would be
cool
one.
power.
I feel
Yeah.
like since I haven't watched enough of the show, you guys know more about the quirks. I feel
Yeah.
like you should tell me what quirk you think I would get.
What would you want?
What would I want? I mean, super strength is always an appeal. Considering how much I hate traveling, flying would always be cool, but that feels
Cool.
like a pretty basic one.
Yeah.
In the show, I like Bakugo's powers. I always think fire powers would be cool. If the temper comes with it, no thank you.
Yeah.
I'm already grumpy enough. I don't need that on my plate. And engine links would be cool, but I've never been like a running guy.
Yeah.
This could give you the
This
boost.
could give me
Yeah,
the
it could
boost
be
I
the
need.
literal boost.
So what quirk do you think I'd get?
Okay, just looking at the main cast really
Yes.
quick. I'll
Yeah.
throw it up. I'll throw
Yeah.
it up real fast. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna need help with names.
Okay.
No.
Red hair kid, who can
Kirishima?
turn, and so he can turn.
He has a hardening quirk.
He can do that, so you
Yeah.
can turn your arms into weapons.
Into
Yeah.
it.
and you can block. So
Yeah.
you can do
Yeah.
that. Or bird kid, Raven.
Oh, Tokoyami!
Who can control
Tokoyami
shadows.
is such a great character.
It's super cool. If you guys are looking at the asset bottom left, you can only just see his beak coming
Yes.
out. I'd throw that at you. I like
I'm into that.
shadow, but not like you're not going OP with this. But
Yeah.
you can do hardening, you can do arms.
I'm even okay if I look like a bird. And
you-
that's an
look
aspect.
like a bird.
That's an aspect I really do like about the show. Like, here's your team. That guy looks like a bird. I'm like, cool. I mean, cool.
Do you remember in the classroom where like everyone's cheering? It's like before they get to this class, it's the regular school.
Yes.
And there's one kid who looks like a clothespin face, and you're
Yeah.
just like,
Yep.
man, that kid's never gonna become a superhero. that kid's never making it. That kid's not getting action figures. There's a joke later in the season. There's a kid who can do electricity, but if he overblows it,
I know. Then he goes brain dead.
goes
I
brain
love
dead.
it so
And he just kind of like
much.
walks around and wanders, and like they're like, hey. Come back.
Hello? Yes.
Look over here.
That's
And
so good.
they make a joke that like you get an electrical villain, and the
Yeah.
joke's solid where it's like, oh, electrical heroes are always so mainstream because like you and also you can get a job anywhere if you
Yeah.
wanted to. Like I can't. Like the headphones girls. Like what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
It is
Jiro.
also weird that
She's great.
because they talk about like people with quirks have kids with quirks. Why does bird guy and clothespin head guy? How do they have
What are their,
kids?
oh,
How
I was
does
going to
that
say,
work?
what do their parents look like?
Yeah, what do their parents look like? How do they have kids? How does that work?
Last question.
Yeah.
Top right of the asset we're looking at.
The guy with the
Sarah?
orange-
with the orange, with the
Black and orange. He looks really cool.
black and orange top right next to all my.
Tape quirk.
It's tape.
Yes, it's
Okay,
tape.
That's all I need to
Yep.
ask.
Wait, what?
He shoots tape out of his elbows. Like the tape
Wow,
dispensers
his
are here.
costume's way cooler than his ability.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he can web them up just like Spider-Man.
Yes.
He is just like Spider-Man.
He literally has a tape quirk.
And I like that Frog Girl. What's her quirk? Frog.
She's just a frog.
Whatever a
Just-
frog can do, she can do.
it.
Yeah, and like.
Oh, and that comes into play later on too, like some of the weird shit that frogs can do.
Oh yeah, she's like, yeah, I can vomit up my stomach and clean it, but I don't think that's helpful in this fight.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Emma, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank
At
you
Emma
for having
Fyffe
me. Yeah.
on Twitter and
Instagram, yeah.
There you go. Make sure you go follow her, and she's got a lot of great content at multiple outlets. Where you at? Your Collider.
Yeah, I do some stuff at
Nerdist.
Collider. I do some stuff over at Nerdist. I do a lot of stuff for the Movie Trivia Schmodown. I run their Patreon. So I'm around. I'm doing stuff.
Nice. And actually, we're going to throw to some very special guests who have their own reviews of this, and we asked them what their quirk would be.
My favorite part of it definitely was the humor. Izuku, every time that he was in a little sad moment of not having powers, it felt like there was a musical number that was going to go forward.
I've been a My Hero Academia fan for a long time. Here's my little Aizawa. It's a very good anime for people that are familiar with comic tropes. Everyone will find a character that they relate to. So I'm very excited to see how a new audience, how you guys like the anime.
I am interested in seeing the dub, as I have not actually listened to that before. And also, I am excited to see you guys watch more, only because I love DJ's reactions so far. He looks like he is having a blast.
Freezing time sounds like a good quirk to have. Should definitely come in handy.
Well, in the future, we'll meet a character. Her name is Yajirosu. She can kind of materialize anything she needs from her body. You just need some rope, you need a flashlight, something, whatever it might be. She can materialize it from her body. I guess the only thing would be, would I be wearing a revealing outfit? I'll probably just make a shirt every time, like a new shirt.
I always thought that controlling your blood would be so interesting. Got this idea based on another anime, Dead Man Wonderland, but how it would work in My Hero universe would be like that's genius.
Next week, we're going to be watching Princess Mononoke. It's going to be so cool. I've never watched it all the way through. I've just seen when a deer comes walking out of the forest and gets hurt. That's how vague I'll be about it.
That movie changed my life.
And
when
I want
was a teenager.
that. I want that, and we're going to be doing a watch along for that. So stay tuned for those details starting next week on Monday. It'll be earlier than we did for My Hero Academia. But let us know what you thought of this show. Give us your recommendations on Discord, and gang, we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.